Rand Paul isn't pulling any punches during his first week of running for the presidency. He has a history of testy exchanges with hosts when he appears on mainstream cable shows, especially when the host is a woman. He has a long history of it. Here is the latest.
You have had views in the past on foreign policy that are somewhat unorthodox, but you seem to have changed over the years. You once said Iran was not a threat. Now you say it is. You once proposed ending foreign aid to Israel. You now support it, at least for the time being. And you once offered to drastically cut. Once drastically wanted to cut defense spending, and now you want to increase it 16%. So I just wonder if you've mellowed out.
Yeah, why don't you let me explain instead of talking over me, okay?
Okay. Look, I don't know that the woman charge is fair.
That's not so bad yet.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, so he's cranky there because all the things she's saying are true. Right? Yeah. So he's like, oh, God damn it, I'm a flip-flopper, and she's pointing it out. How do I get her to stop? Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay.
Stop saying these things that are hurting me.
That's right. Please. It's my turn to try to defend myself. And then he says, you were talking over me. But no, actually, she was in the middle of a sentence. You started talking over her. So don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Rand Paul. But I just think that he probably would have done that under any circumstances because he's very testy on this stuff, rightfully so, because he's wrong.
It's possible, and we do know that politicians will go on and they'll manhandle someone if they don't have the sort of stature where they think they have to be polite to them. We've seen it with other politicians. We're going to show you some more from that exchange, and just as you're watching it, imagine, would he act the same way towards Brett Baier or something like that, Sean Hannity, and we'll see. So here he's continuing to speak with Savannah Guthrie.
Before we go through a litany of things you say I've changed on, why don't you ask me a question? Have I changed my opinion?
Have you changed your opinion?
That would be sort of a better way to approach an interview.
Okay.
No.
Is Iran still not a threat?
No. Listen, you've editorialized. Let me answer a question. You ask a question and you say, have your views changed, instead of editorializing and saying my views have changed.
Okay, that to me is 100% disrespectful. Like, I would be pissed if somebody treated me that way. But I also love, if you get rid of the whole gender thing, that he's saying, no, you don't prove that I'm a flip-flopper. You ask me if I'm a flip-flopper, and I get to say no. That's how this is supposed to work. So you don't provide evidence.
So I think that I'm colored by the fact that I would be unfazed by all this. Because once he starts doing that, then I'm having real fun, if I'm the host, right?
You'd come back at him.
Right, because I wouldn't say like, hey, okay, then I'll phrase it in a question. I'd say, look, those are the facts in front of me. Okay, here's a fact. You said that we should cut defense by $160 billion. Now you're saying we should increase it by $109 billion. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So you explain that fact to me.
Yeah.
Okay? Right? So I would say that. So I'm not bothered by him being aggressive.
That's sort of what she's trying to do.
Right.
Like she's bringing up specifically, you were for cutting some of the foreign aid for Israel. Now you're saying that we should have it. And look, I believe you're going to see in the next one, it was years ago that he said some of that stuff. You have to understand that. We want politicians to change over the course of 8 years or almost a decade or whatever. But yeah, I mean, she's doing what most on cable news would not do, actually providing the evidence, something we would do perhaps.
Right. It's not editorializing to ask him about facts about his record.
Yeah.
That's a question, right? And then you're perfectly free to answer it any way you like.
Yeah.
So the reason he's so testy, I think, again, is because he's so wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's trying to change the thing. And one of the things that he wants to do, again, remove from the agenda thing for a second, no matter what, he wants to be the victim, right? So that he can go raise money off of this and have the rest of conservatives and Republicans stop listening to what she or anyone else is saying, so that he can say, liberal media.
Gotcha questions.
Yeah, they're antagonistic towards real Republicans, so don't listen to anything they're saying, all those, meddlesome facts. Shh, don't listen to that. They're just a goddamn liberal media. You see how they attacked me?
Yeah.
He attacks, and then when she just says, well, I was just trying to ask you a question, he's like, see, now they attacked me.
Yeah. This is a standard thing for the party of being strong and independent, is to always act as if you were weak and being pummeled by everyone around you. That's how you project strength, through weakness. Orwell would love it. So here, he's actually going to sort of respond to the question, but he's going to do it in his own way.
Okay, let's start out with regard to foreign aid. My opinion has always been that we shouldn't borrow money from China to send it to any country, Pakistan, Israel, or any other country. And so I haven't proposed removing aid from Israel, but I still agree
but you
with my
once
original
did.
precept, which is, let me answer the question. I still agree with my original statement from years ago.
Do you still think Iran is not a threat, as you said in 2007?
Yeah. 2007 was a long time ago, and events do change over long periods of time. So we're talking about 8 years ago. We're talking about a time when I wasn't running for office and I was helping someone else run for office.
By the way, I love the admission there at the end. I wasn't running for office, so I was free to say what I actually believe. But now I'm running for office, so I'm going to lie all I want.
Now, you got to remember, if I'm running for office, I got to raise money. I have to pretend to have positions I don't actually have.
Have you seen the crazy people I have to deal with? Yeah.
It's weird. His Kentucky accent in the middle of the interview almost turned into a British accent.
It's quite dignified.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I like, he has a point. Over 8 years, things
Yes.
can change.
Yes.
Iran could have not been a threat then and could be a threat now. I don't believe that's actually what he thinks. I think that he is basically lying to the Republicans now when he actually thinks we shouldn't be involved in it. And so I don't give him a lot of respect for that. But of course, the way that he expressed that 8 years is a long time is incredibly condescending. And that's again where I think perhaps to a Larry King or something, he would not have expressed it in that way. I think that's
Okay,
possible.
I'll only grant this much. Again, we can't read his mind. We don't know if he does that because she's a woman or whatever. I think you're more right when you talk about the power dynamic here. And it happens with reporters, too. Mike Wallace was one of the legendary reporters, was tough on a lot of people, but I used to watch 60 Minutes a lot when he was a reporter back then. And with people who are more powerful, he would be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, totally.
And then one day he had Ricky Williams on, and Ricky Williams had quit football back then, right? Ricky Williams has no power base whatsoever. He's not even on a football team.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is. That's how not powerful he is.
That's right. And he murdered Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, pummeled him time after time after. And I've never seen him be so tough on anybody.
Yeah.
So that's not a gender thing. It's that in Washington, New York, if they feel like you're not as powerful, then they get to push
the
you
hell out
around
of
a
you,
little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so in his estimation, for whatever reason, he thinks Savannah Guthrie is
Not worthy of respect, basically.
you know, that he could push her around more, right? And so that's why I wish Savannah would have. I think she did a perfectly fine job. I'm not criticizing her overall for it. She asked the right questions. She followed up.
Did her research.
Right. I just would have yelled more.
Cut his mic. Cut that mofo's mic. That's what she should have done. Now, really fast, I do want to show you, we alluded to his previous history of doing this. I want to show you this video. Now, in the beginning of this, you're going to see he's speaking with a CNBC anchor about tax holidays for money that corporations are holding overseas. Now, early on, the anchor is sort of disagreeing with him, or at least implying that he doesn't totally understand the concept. Later on, he is still against her, even when she is not only agreeing with his position, but saying they should go even farther. So look for that in this clip.
There's a proposal with you and Barbara Boxer that would allow our companies, which have about $2 trillion worth of cash overseas, to bring it home, a one-time holiday, I think at a 6.5% corporate tax rate. Senator, I'm sure you know that most of the research on this indicates that these actually cost more money over the long term than they save.
Well,
Are
that's
you saying
incorrect.
That your plan will be different?
Let's go back again. Your premise and your question is mistaken, okay? Most of the research doesn't indicate that. The whole purpose of doing this is to bring money home.
Right, but it works that
let me
first year,
finish.
Senator.
Hey, let me finish. Hey, Kelly. Hey,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Calm down a bit here, Kelly. Let me answer the question. The whole point of this legislation is that money has been accumulating. Much money has been actually inverting, and people are reincorporating because the tax code in our country is not encouraging money to come home.
What people want, Senator, is for you to make this permanent. Why not just make it 6.5% period? The problem is that, as it happened
let me
in
answer
2004...
the question. Let me answer the question before you get going.
Yeah, get going.
He's a testy dude, but you're right. The part where he goes, shh, and calm down, right? So that's infuriating whenever you do it to anybody. Second of all, no way he does that to Bill O'Reilly.
Can you imagine Bill O'Reilly?
Okay.
He'd be covering a new war with his pen, a one-on-one war.
So it's nuanced. It's not as simple as he just does it to women and he doesn't do it to guys. It has to do with power structure. And by the way, Savannah Guthrie and others also, if you're the president of the United States, might not have been as aggressive in questioning. Whether it's George Bush or Barack Obama, they're all definitely a lot more gentle around the president. They tiptoe a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So all of that are factors in this. The calm down was a bit much. Rand Paul, it's all like, I was going to say pretty packaging, but not really.
He's got nice hair.
It's all this libertarian packaging and all this blah, 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 blah. But in reality, the whole thing's about lower taxes on the rich. That's what the whole thing is. That tax holiday that he's referring to there in the earlier clip, what an unbelievable giveaway to the rich. So there's a lot of people who do intellectual, they dress up things
Jiu-jitsu, kind of?
Yeah, or intellectual Krav Maga. Okay.
It's a lot of hitting in the nuts of the opposing political ideology.
So it's a lot of, dressing up things in an intellectual light, when in reality, things are much simpler, right? Rand Paul's like, in the end, I'm going to have the same position on defense and Israel and everything else. The main thing is I want to cut taxes even more than the radical Republicans do, because I'm a libertarian.